Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday Talks with the Green Bay Doulas. I'm Emily Jacobson. I'm here with Dr. Kristen Lyerly, and we are talking a little political today. We want to actually talk about Badgercare and Medicare and what that looks like. So, Dr. Lyerly, you said over 40% of women in Wisconsin have Badgercare. So tell me about why is that number so high in a sense? Maybe you can allude to what that means.
Yeah, it's true. So before the pandemic, these are pre-pandemic numbers, 42% of Wisconsin moms have Badgercare, which is Wisconsin's brand of Medicaid. Women who are pregnant and don't have insurance, can't afford insurance, automatically get Badgercare. That's really important. And I have to thank our legislators from long ago for making sure that that was a priority, protecting moms and babies and families. So that's huge. Back in the Walker administration, when Obamacare first became a thing, we were offered the opportunity to expand our Medicaid coverage, to cover more people and to save money. It wasn't going to cost us anything. The federal government was going to give us money so we could cover more people that fit into this gap between people who already were getting Medicaid or Badgercare and the people who could afford private insurance coverage. And for purely political reasons, our legislators told the government that they didn't want it. The primary reason was they didn't want to be saddled with this bill once the government took the money away, which they haven't. So for years and years now, since Obamacare started, we have refused to take Medicaid expansion. It has cost nearly $2 billion to the state of Wisconsin, to the taxpayers of Wisconsin. And we have failed to cover over 80,000 Wisconsinites because we have just made this political decision that we did not want to accept Medicaid expansion. This is so frustrating for so many of us, not just here in Wisconsin, but in other states as well. In Oklahoma recently, which was in a similar situation, their legislators continued to refuse to adopt Medicaid expansion. And they had a referendum, and the people of Oklahoma said, wait a minute, if you're not going to do your job, we're going to do it for you. So Oklahoma recently became a Medicaid expansion state because the people insisted. And maybe that's the route we have to go. We'll have to see.
So I think one thing that's really interesting that the average bear wouldn't know per se is that when you're pregnant, you're covered by Badgercare if you don't have private insurance already. But it's very shortly after you give birth, you're actually then released from Badgercare. I don't like to call it kicked off, but you're released. So what does that look like for a woman who's pregnant and just giving birth? When do they get kicked off and kind of what's next for them then?
Typically, women get kicked off of Badgercare at 6 weeks postpartum. If the mom is undocumented and has a special form of Badgercare, she loses her coverage at the end of the month. So she doesn't get any postpartum care. And we all know, any of us who have had babies or taken care of women who have had babies and families, 6 weeks is not enough. You are not recovered at 6 weeks. You are not ready to get back to it. Maybe you're able to start working. Maybe you're able to start doing some of the things that you have done in your life before you had your baby, but your body is not ready. Your mind is not ready. You are at risk of postpartum depression. And a third of women who die related to pregnancy and childbirth die after that 6 week mark of things like heart problems and suicide. So we know that if we could cover our moms until they are truly recovered, it would make a huge impact, not only on all those little things that matter to you and your family so deeply, but also on our big numbers like maternal mortality.
Absolutely.
And it's not complicated.
So there's an initiative going on with, in Wisconsin wise, as far as not necessarily Medicare expansion, but an extension. So not being kicked off at 6 weeks. So tell me more about what would that look like if women were able to get this extension?
So Medicaid expansion has become kind of a non-starter in many circles because it's been going on for so long. So with the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists across the country and in Washington, D.C., we've really been focusing on Medicaid extension and getting that extra coverage so that women are covered for that full year postpartum. This is essential health care, and we all know that we need it. So we've been fighting, as I said, in Washington, D.C. and on the state level for the last few years. It's been a struggle. Some states are getting close. Minnesota, I believe, is getting close. Here in Wisconsin, we're not even close. We're not valuing moms and families nearly as much as we should be. So this is something that we're going to continue to fight for.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for helping us understand this. We're going to make this a two-part series because there's just too much to talk about. So please join us next week for our part 2 of Dr. Kristen Lyerly and Tuesday Talks, and we will see you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.